Hi, everybody. It's Richard from the Homeschool Freedom Club, and we've got another one in our series of interviews today, talking to parents about how they manage to home educate and earn from home. I've got Lucy with me today, and she's very kindly agreed to come and have a chat. So thank you, Lucy, and thanks for coming and taking the time to be here.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you.
So just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a bit about your family.
Yeah, so I live near the lovely Lake District in Cumbria, in the north of Cumbria. Very cold here. And I live with my husband, Mike, and my son, Tommy, who's going to be 8 this year. So, yeah, we live in town
Mhm.
and a small town called Penrith. And yeah, we started home educating in September 2021.
Mhm. And what was it that kind of sparked that? What made you decide to take the jump? How old's your son, by the way?
He's 7, coming up
Yeah.
8.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did start school
Yeah.
when he in 2020 when he was 4, in the September of 2020, and he did the autumn term, and then the winter term was winter lockdown,
Yeah.
and that's when that year everything changed.
Uh-huh.
So I was really struggling with my first business in that time, because like most people that go into homeschooling, but I didn't realize I was going to then.
Yeah.
I like most parents probably were tearing my hair out actually at the thought of having the a child at home all day with me, and having to teach them something. Now, bear in mind, my child wasn't even 4 yet. Bear in mind also that, in some European countries, children don't go to school until they're 7. So
Yeah.
this ridiculous pressure that we have in the UK to send our babies into the system is
Yeah.
crazy, really. Um, and I just thought, well, I just felt like, I had no balance whatsoever. I was desperate is the word, desperately trying to I don't know, wake the dead, it felt like, with my business. But everybody must have been obviously in the same situation. Everybody was at home.
Yeah.
Everybody was probably struggling with the same stuff, having the kids at home. So like my team had gone to sleep. I was in network marketing, and any chance of getting customers seemed to, I don't know, I just wasn't managing it very well. I actually put a shout out on Mums in Business on our local group, and a girl that knew my husband, who they used to work together many moons
Uh-huh.
ago, she reached out to me because she could just see like I was just burning out all the time. Um, so then he went back to school in the summer term after
Yeah.
Easter, and yeah, he went back to school in the summer term after the Easter, and I just like, there was another friend of mine. She said, "Just get him out, just get him out." And the reason I was looking at the world, and I was just horrified by what I was seeing,
Yeah.
with the, call it a pandemic, whatever you want to call it. The yeah, I think it's yeah. I just don't really know how much I can say on here, but I
That's
wasn't happy with the system. Um, wasn't happy with the system. I wasn't happy with the way the schools approached. What was going on. Like they just seemed to be complying with everything, and I was like, "Are you crazy? Like what?" So like everybody has to have this medical intervention. You know, I didn't see any dead bodies lying around in the street. I'm not saying that people didn't get ill. I'm sure people did, but um, yeah, I'm not very diplomatic, so it'll come out just the way it
Yeah.
comes out, I'm afraid. And I was just horrified. I was just disgusted, actually, with
Yeah.
the school, the masks. And there was one day I refused to wear a mask in the playground, which
Mhm.
it's fresh air. We're
Yeah.
breathing fresh air, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and the teacher asked me, would I take my child in a different way, in a different entrance to the school? And me being a bit kind of not really thinking about things, when somebody says something to me, um, it takes me about 12 hours to process. Hang on a minute, that's a bit of a crazy idea, and you're marginalizing my son. So my son had to go in a different way to get into the school so
Yeah.
that mummy who wouldn't wear a mask and comply like the rest of the mummies, he couldn't go in with his peers. So he was being marginalised from his friends. And I thought, no, like this is just ridiculous. So I had all summer holidays to sort of think about it. I was told by family members that I'm being stupid,
Uh-huh.
which is fine. They're entitled to their opinions, but I was going to do it anyway, and they knew that. Luckily, we have a really lovely lady here called Claire, and she saw what was happening. She'd seen what was happening for a long time. She'd already, prior to that, home educated 4 children of her own.
Yeah.
Her youngest at the time, I think, probably would have been about, her oldest at the time would have been about 20. So he was already out there doing a job he absolutely loves.
Yeah.
Like all 4 kids doing a job they absolutely love. And yeah, so it kind of, knowing there was a support network, we've got a really good support network here in Cumbria, and Claire's actually doing a Zoom tomorrow night. If anybody wants to know about that, let me know, because it's just a how to do it, questions and answers, like, if you're new to it, one of those kind of Zooms anyway. So yeah, I think that does that answer the question, I think. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Yeah, no, it's like me. Someone's trying to call on FaceTime. Yeah, no, that absolutely does. And I think COVID was a watershed for a lot of people. Actually, I mean, it was for us. That was what started us home educating, because of the ridiculous rules and everything else that did nothing but damage. I mean, my
Damage
wife
people.
is a speech therapist. She's a psycholinguist and a speech therapist and a child psychologist. And she was horrified when we started seeing there were sort of teachers were masking in schools and kids were having to mask, because of the basically just the cognitive damage that does. So take away whatever your beliefs are about COVID and whatever they are. The fact is that the lockdowns and the masking did far more damage than COVID did. So
far more damage to people
yeah,
mentally and to the economy as well, which I think is what that was all about, really, in my opinion.
yeah.
It was to damage the economy
Well,
as
yeah, I
well.
mean, I lost my business during that time as well, so it did its job if that was the case.
You see, that in itself is so emotionally stressful.
Yeah, yeah, it is actually. Do you know what? It was a real watershed for us. I mean, we were chatting just before this, and you were saying that actually it sort of brought the family closer together, and it's actually what it did for us as well. I know for some families that wasn't the experience they had, and where you have maybe 2 partners that view things differently. But for us, it really did bring things together. And actually, losing my business was one of the best things that could have happened, because I had to find other ways of making an income, so that we could home educate, because my business was our only income at that time.
Yeah.
Because my wife had 2 young kids. My youngest was 1 when COVID hit, 1.5, and it just gave us that opportunity to kind of reset and rethink, and to move forward in a different direction, and one that was better for our family, honestly.
Yeah, I would agree with that, definitely, because prior to the lockdowns, all my appointments were done face to face. So I would leave Tommy at home in the evening with his dad, and I would go out, put my smart thing on, and I think I was doing like 15,000 miles a year on my car, and it was like, and not that it was the exhausting of the traveling, and where we live as well. If you're going from one town to another here in Cumbria, you're talking 25 miles between each town.
Yeah.
So at least. So if it wasn't local, it was really stressful getting to like meetings and stuff like that. And it made me totally reevaluate, like, what the heck am I doing? I've got a young child. I'm going out pretty much 4 nights a week to do appointments that might sign up, might not sign up. I had all that going on. It really made me reevaluate the business that I was actually running as well. Like, is this actually for me? Am I aligned with this business, or am I just doing it because everybody says you can make money at it? And I think that was really, really important. It was a huge turning point. And my friend, she was like, she did recruit me into her team, and it was the best thing I've ever done
Yeah.
because actually her team was full of mums. Everybody was a
Oh,
mum. And what I found I was doing prior to that, I was trying to work like as many hours as my husband, like to bring
yeah.
in money, I was burning out all the time. I was, I burnt out frequently
Yeah.
when after Tommy was born, frequently. Um, and and now I'm much more focused on self-care, because if I'm not right, then you know it's
Yeah.
it affects everybody else really in the house. And so yeah, so I'm just trying to sort of give a bit more of a timeline. So I joined her team, and they were just having such a good time. They were absolutely like having such a good time as
Yeah.
mums, and
Yeah.
earning money online and selling like supplements and skincare and makeup. And I was having fun. I was doing lives. I love
Mm.
being on live camera. Most people absolutely hate it. I quite enjoy
You're
it.
natural. Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm good at it, but I was with that
No,
company,
you're
and it
natural.
just, yeah, thank you. And it just gave me so much um of my life back in that 2021 year. But I was also looking at the world in a way I'd never seen it before. I'd never seen it like this before. So it was really difficult. So I changed businesses, took my kid out of school.
Yeah.
I was like, "Huh," and then after Christmas, that company was kind of starting to dwindle a little bit. Some of them do, some of them don't. Some of these network marketing companies last forever.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, whilst we're on that subject, is, I mean, network marketing gets a bad rap. I'm not an affiliate of a company anymore, so I'm certainly not trying to pitch anybody here. But one thing it does do is it teaches you how to run a business.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, if you get like a really good upline, as I had in Kirsty, to like really show me how to do things quite currently,
Yeah.
it teaches you how to run a business. You also don't have to worry about creating a product, as that's what I do now.
Yeah.
Creating and marketing. All you need, they supply the product.
Yeah.
So I mean, one of my big bits of advice, we're maybe jumping a bit ahead here,
No.
is that for homeschooling, home educating mums, and it does generally tend to be the mum that
Hmm.
in round here. I'm just saying generally round here, my experience of it. I'm not saying it's all
Yeah.
across the
No, I think
board.
you're right.
Generally, it tends to be the mums rocking up at the groups and stuff. We do
Yeah.
get dads up there too. Some of those. What I find is that if the dads are rocking up,
Hmm.
they usually run a family business together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So mum probably having a bit of peace that day and getting on with some
Yeah.
work. I wouldn't say peace, but she'd be getting on with some work. I know that just from chatting to a couple of the couples up at the group.
Yeah.
But I mean, if anybody was sort of wanting to that balance between business and home educating, it definitely can be done. And there are going to be times where, and there's still times where I feel like I'm failing at both, or failing at one, or failing at the other. That's just totally normal. So yeah, so in 2022 I went on to write a book. I'm just trying to see if I've got it here. Because I don't know, like I was homeschooling and getting used to it, and then like I just
Yeah.
needed something for myself, like an outlet. So
Yeah.
that's my book
Oh,
that I
cool.
wrote, Christmas Made Easy. So I had lists and lists and lists on my
Yeah.
phone, and put it into a book and a planner for people to follow it throughout the year to create like a more sustainable Christmas.
Yeah.
And then kind of last year birthed kind of this Get Organised with Lucy platform, which was really had come from a place where I was that burnt out mum, like all the time,
Yeah.
like living
Yeah.
in total overwhelm. And then last year I thought, oh God, I bet there's like more people, like more mums that are feeling like this. So so I thought, right, I changed, I repurposed a Facebook group, which has like 236 mums in it at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
And I do little organizing challenges in there, and things like that. But my sole focus of my business right now is my planners on Etsy. So I've moved into doing kind of like planners for mums where it's print on demand. You can print it off.
Yeah.
Print on demand is a fantastic thing to get into. I'm not going to say it's like the road to riches straight away. You know,
Yeah.
everything takes a bit of time and a bit of effort. My shop's on Etsy, and basically these planners are to help mums either or like organize different aspects of their life. So
Yeah.
if they're wanting to set goals, there's a goal setting planner. If they're wanting to plan Christmas, there's that. Then I've kind of moved into activity books for children, and based a lot of them on like Pagan Wheel of the Year.
Uh-huh.
Winter Solstice was like one of my best sellers. The Winter Solstice planner.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm part of an entrepreneurs group as well. So I feel that as a mum in business, community is like it's there.
Yeah.
Like having your support for you as a mum in business is crucial,
Yeah.
I feel. Because if you're trying to do this on your own, expect to feel lonely. Like I know like so many mums in business now, they've either got the kids in school or they're home educating, but it definitely can be done. You know, it can be done. And I'm not, it's definitely not the easy road. The easy road I feel leads to the hard road. And I just remember being a kid in school in the 90s. And then my brother, like there was me, my sister and my brother. And as I said to my mum, you know, you were in and out of that school dealing with problems all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. That was then. We have a totally different system now, unfortunately. I am not supportive of the school system. I am having mums in tears come to me on a regular basis,
Yeah.
unfortunately, going, how do I do this? I don't know how to do this. I don't know where to turn. It's affecting my child's mental health. I've had like one lady already reach out to me this morning. We're seeing new members at the group all the time,
Yeah.
and it's not fit for purpose. In my opinion, the education system is not fit for purpose at the moment, and we've just got to form these communities, and community will keep you stronger. It really will. You get a good home ed community, and
Yeah.
there's plenty of Facebook groups, and there's also, I mean, if people want put in touch with, you know, if they're thinking, oh, I've got to like bring in money, and I've got to, you know, I've got to, you know, I've got to bring in money, and I've got to do this, and it doesn't take up massive amounts of time either. Like
Yeah.
the people try and recreate school at home. I tried to do that.
Yeah.
It was a disaster.
It's
It was
the
an
road to
absolute disaster.
insanity for most people. I think some kids will go for it, but I think a lot, you know, it's just, yeah, there's just no point.
No, and especially not for like I always struggle to say this word. Is it kinesthetic? Where
Aesthetic,
they
yeah.
move it, like the kid
Yeah.
likes to
Yeah.
move a
They're
lot.
like, yeah, to be able to move around. Yeah.
Yeah, don't try and recreate school for those children. It doesn't work. We've tried, but yes, I'll let you speak, Richard, and if
That's
there's
all right.
anything.
No. It's great listening to what you got to say. I
Yeah,
mean, how? So obviously your theme is organisation. So how do you organise yourself? How do you organise your unschooling around your business, or vice versa? Because I
I,
think, you know, that's one of the things that generally holds people back, is wondering how the heck they're going to fit it all in. And I
yeah,
think you've given us a little bit of a clue there with saying don't recreate school at home. But yeah,
yeah. Well, I still time block, like,
yeah,
because for my own, like, I am totally different to my son. That's one thing we established years ago.
yeah,
He's definitely more like his dad in his mannerisms, his behaviour.
yeah,
He's a boy for a start off. That
yeah,
helps. How he thinks, how he learns is not like me. I'm your typical girl. I like sitting at a desk. If I don't have a desk, I feel like you've chopped my arm off. Like I love my desk. I write, you know, I'm a writer. I'm a digital creator. That's what I like to do. I like to be at my desk. That's me. You know, I like to be out and about as well. But he
Yeah.
You couldn't sit him, like, it's hard work to get him to do any kind of desk work.
Yeah.
And like I say, my friend Claire, for example, what's nice is you can join the dots going forward. But to answer your question, try and stay on point here. Time blocking is what I learned from the girls in my business, in the product business that I went into, was a lot of them had, like, none of them were really homeschooling, but there was many of them that had some children in school, and there was still babies at home. So one lady, she had 2 at home and two older ones at school.
Yeah.
And she showed me her day, and I was like, what was I trying to do? I was trying to like I just look back and think, like, it used to, like, I used to get quite bad imposter syndrome with, especially if you're on a WhatsApp chat with my other business, because it was mostly men. And I'd be like, oh, they're all off to appointments and they're making money and they're doing this and they're doing that. And I was like, this is like, and they don't understand it from a mum at home's point of view, because they're not that person, and it's not their fault, and it'll never ever come into their thinking. But I just felt like I was failing all the time because I couldn't work like they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just, so when I got into this space of mums who were smashing it in their product businesses and building teams and stuff, I learned from those girls how to do it. I was pretty good at organising my time. I was a secretary before I had Tommy, and I have worked a little bit over the last year to, like, because he does get a Nana Day on a Tuesday, which I'm really fortunate to have Nana down the road. That massively helps. But there is, like, I do know people that don't have grandparents, so if you can take a Nana Day and they just play games all day. Well, playing games is how my son learns.
Yeah.
I remember
well,
she turned around to me, she said, you won't do any of that book work with me. I'm like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, because I can join the dots forward now, because I'm looking at older boys who, they have a GCSE group in the morning before the younger ones come in the afternoon. And they'll do like a couple of hours of maths and a couple of hours of English, and they'll block it in that morning, Monday morning, done. They've got their GCSE studies done. The other thing I would say about GCSEs is I know a lot of them that are maybe just doing 4 or 5. Then, like, they're doing the maths, they're doing the English, and a lot of them are maybe doing like 3 sciences or something. So to see those boys who are studying now, who are like, what, I don't know, 15, 16, 17 years old, I can join the dots forward by talking to their mums. Every week I have to join the dots forward from talking to their mums. And like yesterday it was behaviour. He's going through a thing, like, he's just rebelling against everything at the minute. Even if he thinks it's fun, he doesn't want to do it because I said so. So we're going through that massively at the moment. So I talked to them about that yesterday. A lot of those boys, they weren't interested in reading or writing until they were 10, 11. I know several of them have passed GCSEs with a B, what I call a B. I don't do the number system. I can't get my head around it. So with what I would, a B. I know several of them who've just passed. So to be able to look at parents with older sons, massively helpful, because they don't feel like, oh, my child's not sitting down for 3 hours a day and writing. He's not designed to sit. My child is not designed to do that. I know that he likes to build. All he wants to do is build.
Boys aren't generally, though. I mean, it's a real generalisation, but most boys aren't. I mean, whenever I go out and you look at the girls playing calmly together and the boys are running around like lunatics, doing whatever they do, and they're not still for a second. They're just not still for a second. And to try and enforce that for 5-6 hours a day is cruelty, really.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, carry on.
No. I was just going to say, it's just not for them. And going back to what you're saying there about talking to other mums, again, it's all about community again, isn't it? It's about having that supportive community that you can learn from. You can learn from their experiences. You can talk to them. You can find out, actually, my kid's not weird after all, because they're doing X, Y, and Z, because their children did that, and and it just takes a lot of the fear away.
And also, I feel like on a Monday we've ticked a massive box as well, because we all say this, we all joke, we go, "Oh, I've ticked a box today, I've ticked a box today," with the home ed thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so my week kind of looks like I've sort of split it in kind of two with my business actually. So at the beginning of the week, like 2 hours on a Monday morning, like
Yeah.
I'll happily let him sit and watch a movie because that's what he
Yeah.
wants to do when he wakes up. It's fine. Go and watch a movie. He used to sleep till about 8, half 8, and now it's
Yeah.
like half 6, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Uh,
Yeah.
so now instead of sleeping, he goes and watches a movie whilst I'm working. So from 6:30 till 8:30, I'll start making on a Monday morning, I'll start making a new planner.
Yeah.
Um, on a Tuesday, generally, I tend to get that planner done
Yeah.
between the hours of sort of like 10 and 3.
Hmm.
Obviously, I'm speaking to you today, which is great. But
Yeah.
this week's a bit of a weird week, actually. There's no planner creation this week, so it's a bit of an odd week. I'm hoping for a normal week next week, but we are going away, so it's kind of a
Yeah.
bit of a plan do review week. And yeah, so Monday from about 10:30 till 4, like 10:30, even if it means like yesterday, the sun's shining, we go into town, he
Yeah.
gets a ham sandwich and he reads the signs on the shops. I get him
Yeah.
to do more reading in town than I'll ever get him to do at home at the moment. So,
Yeah.
and then, we do that. And then, 4 o'clock, I'm ready to lie down in a dark room because I'm usually quite involved with running a group.
Yeah.
Tuesday is Nana Day. I work on my business, on my Etsy shop, my
Yeah.
planners. Wednesday, and he has a lot of after school activities as well that he
Yeah.
does. He's kickboxing, he's swimming, and his piano he goes to.
Yeah.
Wednesdays I get together with my friend because
Uh-huh.
she's very much like me. And her daughter is moving all the time.
Yeah.
She's not your typical girl where she'll sit at a desk. She's on
Yeah.
the go. So that works well. So at the minute we're trying to investigate more. She just sent me something like 97 things that you can do for the children that like to be on the move or something.
Yeah.
So we're looking at that. We're creating our own curriculum together as well. So we tend to get the best out of the kids in the morning,
Yeah.
and then they play in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And so either one of us cooks the tea because her
Yeah.
husband works away. One of us cooks tea. If it's our house, you're cooking the tea. If it's not your house, you're typing up what you're going to do next week. So we're kind
Yeah.
of getting into that with them at the minute. So we totally work together on a Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, I just focus on marketing my business.
Yeah.
So I schedule posts. Scheduling posts is like massive. It's changed my life. And sometimes I find I can get stuff done with him. Like I shot a load of videos, and
Uh-huh.
he loves videos. He loves shooting videos.
Yeah.
I actually did a reel. I think it got to like 500 views the other day on Instagram,
Yeah.
and it was like, what happens when you let your 7-year-old, um, when you home educate your 7-year-old to shoot your reels for. And it was like the camera was everywhere.
Yeah.
So and that was just something fun.
Yeah.
So we went out to my mum's that day, and there was one that day he went out, and I just thought, right, I'm just gonna have a coffee with my mum because sometimes you just need to chill out a bit as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course,
And
self-care.
my mum hadn't been very well. We've had quite a stressful winter. We've had car crash. I've had a car crash. My mum got taken into hospital on the 1st of January. So I've been a lot like everyone keeps saying, be kind to yourself because they know how rigid I can be with my time,
Yeah.
which can also be a bit of a devil as well.
Yeah.
So for people that are a bit anal like me with time, and you kind of got to be kind, and you kind of got to see the opportunities where I can go and see my mum on a Thursday morning, but my mum lives on a small holding, and
Yeah.
there's so much that Tommy does on
Yeah.
his own in that time. He goes and sees the horses, he talks to the horses.
Yeah.
He goes to the woodshed, he loves the
Uh-huh.
woodshed, to find things in there. And we found a load of stuff to make like a green man
Uh-huh.
for this
Oh, cool.
last Wednesday, like all the wood chippings, and my mum gave us some wood glue. And then he went out, and next door to my mum, they're building a shepherd's hut. That's what they
Uh-huh.
do. They renovate houses, build shepherd's huts, all the things. And he just came back, and his eyes were just. He was so excited he couldn't get the words out that he'd helped
Yeah,
Jason, who can make anything from wood.
yeah,
He was just so excited.
yeah,
And I just knew. I said, "Do you want to go and like watch Jason whilst I have a coffee with Grandma?" "Yeah, I think I will." And he was like, "I got to move it. I got to go inside it." And he's just that. And I know because he last summer he rebuilt the wall around my pond in the garden. That's all. All he wants to do is play Lego. If he's inside, it's Lego.
yeah, yeah,
He's very good at maths. We often do walk around town, walking all the time, going to the park. What's 5 + 6? What's 10 take 5?
yeah.
Or, you know,
That's the
it,
thing. You can fit it in around all the nooks and crannies, can't you, home ed? I mean, and they're learning whatever they're doing. They're learning something. You know,
yeah, it's
doesn't
been a
matter.
massive learning curve for me because I don't learn like him.
Yeah,
I'm totally not the same. And
yeah,
I am your kind of student that will sit in a classroom kind of
yeah,
thing. And for me to make that switch has been quite like a bit of a shift,
yeah,
really. But to see, there'll be times in home education where you just like feel like, it's just like there's often times where you just feel like it's not happening now. I haven't done anything today. And I
yeah,
remember saying to Claire, and he was 4 years old, like literally, they're still babies. And I said to
yeah,
Claire, "I've done nothing with him today." She said, "You might have not done anything, but I bet he has."
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this is the thing, and it applies like to your home ed journey as well as
Mm,
to your business, right? It's not a race. Like, there's no point comparing your kid with other kids. There's no point comparing like you were talking about network marketing, what you're doing with what other people are doing and what they're
mm.
bringing in terms of sales or whatever, because you're not competing with them. You'll just drive yourself nuts that way.
Yeah, well, I
It's-
did
yeah,
frequently, and I've been there, and I've got the T-shirt.
yeah,
I drove myself nuts. I mean, I remember when he was 3 months old, and I was going to this conference, and I was breastfeeding at the time. I'll get
yeah,
quite graphic here. I was breastfeeding him at the time, and I just like all summer was stressing.
yeah,
Got to get back to it. I've got to make money,
yeah,
and I've got to build this business, and I've got it. And you look back on those moments and think, what the hell was I doing?
yeah,
Like, yeah, it got me to where I wanted to be, but to a
yeah,
degree, that business was never meant for me to get any bigger than what it did.
yeah.
But like, I spent the whole day at this conference, and I couldn't tell you what they said. Couldn't tell you what they said. All I knew was there was an area for breastfeeding mums up over there somewhere. I hadn't brought my baby with me,
Yeah,
and as a mum, like a new mum,
yeah,
all you can hear is babies. You can hear babies crying when they're not crying, and all I tuned into were these babies crying.
yeah,
And like by the end of the day, like my boobs were just so sore. So, like I was just like we were down in
yeah,
Manchester, and I was like, this is just pointless. Like I just don't know why I bothered.
yeah,
Like I used to put a lot. I still sometimes do. I'm a sort of person that does put a lot of pressure on myself.
yeah,
Because I want it now. I want it yesterday. That's just who I am. And my mum's exactly the same. So I can't really expect to be that much different. But you know, you've really got to. I think the last 3 years has taught us you need to stop. And like today's not a normal day. I've got another Zoom at 1 o'clock because
yeah,
we're looking into another business, which will be more like a family business.
yeah,
And it's something that I can visualize it in my head. I can see Tommy helping us with.
yeah,
And, you know, a book that I would highly recommend people buy is uh, Financial IQ for Kids by Robert Kiyosaki. Um, I
uh-huh.
I follow him, and I
Yeah,
bought the Cash Flow for Kids game. It's so complicated. It's like the most complicated game of Monopoly ever. And I was reading the book. I've been reading the book in bed at night, and I sometimes think, gosh, it's just like reading about my son, and they talk about education and the education system, even in the
Yeah.
50s and the 60s, and about IQ and all the things that I used to get so upset about as a child. And I honestly feel like secondary school damaged my confidence for a long time.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it did mine honestly as well. I had knowing the bullying at secondary school, and
The
my
bullying.
self-esteem hit rock bottom for years. So yeah, I completely with you on that.
Mm.
But how great that we get the choice to take our kids on a different journey.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's marvelous, and I just feel like the community side of it is the most important. Um, we've had mums come in and in tears, and
Yeah,
we've had them all come through the door since 2021. Yeah, so we'll have been going 3 years this September. Both Tommy and I and the group, which is great. So we are really blessed in Cumbria, the support that we get here, uh, because of the connections I think that Claire's made with like the local authority and things.
yeah,
And I think that's key, is just, you know, reaching out to other people and knowing that there's that option. But the business side of it, don't that's the thing. It's all there. We've got the internet now, and it
yeah,
infuriates me when I see these young kids, like just arsing around on the phones. Like, I've got a niece and she's 19, and
yeah,
I'm like, I tell you what, right? If you set up a business now at
yeah,
19,
yeah,
if I had a blooming smartphone at 19, which I didn't,
yeah,
because there was no such thing except a brick. What you can do now is unreal,
yeah,
but you're arsing around on it.
yeah. Playing
And I'm like,
Minecraft or whatever. Yeah,
if I pick up my phone, it's to run my business or to
yeah,
contact somebody if I need to contact them. It, to make money with
yeah,
these things. And if anybody does need support on that, I'm part of an entrepreneur group, packed with mums as well. And it's basically like the A to Z of, there's
yeah.
modules on there of how to set up a business and what to do and all of the things. So if anybody needs that link, I can send them that link.
Well, what we'll do when I put the recording of this up, if you send me the links, and I'll put them into the post, and then people have got them
Yeah.
then. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, all my links are on a link tree.
yeah,
So it's like one place where I've got my business links, my planners. I have like a free home education planner for mums as well. So I have two freebies. I've got my home education planner for mums, and I've also got five organizing secrets in 5 days. It's all about how you can block your week and organize your week around your homeschooling. And the link for the entrepreneurs group, which is a separate business to mine,
yeah.
obviously, that'll be on there too. So yeah, if people want the link tree, they can just have a look at all the different links. And the entrepreneurs group's just a small monthly fee. It's not anything ridiculously expensive. So
Cool. All right, that's lovely. Well, I think we'll leave that there. Thank you ever so much, Lucy. I really appreciate you giving your time today to come and to chat.
yeah,
I think there are
thank you. Thanks for
loads
having
of
me.
gems in there as well.
Thanks. I hope so. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I just feel like I'm rambling on, but I'm very passionate about it. Um, I'm very passionate about it, and there's, like I say, there's still days where I think, what am I doing? Like, seriously, like
Yeah,
sometimes that old paradigm shifts in, and I think, oh, what am I doing? It's like it's all going wrong. I don't have like perfect days,
yeah,
but we strive for better each day, I think.
exactly. Well, that's a great place to finish this. Thanks ever so much, Lucy.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Richard.